Esteban Ocon is a man who has been in the news a lot recently in Formula 1, and now it's emerged that he wants to actually leave Alpine before the end of this season. Interestingly, he's had a very, very well publicised link with Williams, and apparently he actually visited the factory at Williams for a seat for him, presumably to replace Logan Sargent midway through this season, someone who has been rumoured to lose his seat partway through this season already. Kimi Antonelli has been heavily rumoured to come into that seat for half of this season, or at least maybe next season instead. But Ocon actually had a seat fitting, according to a very reputable journalist in the paddock. Let me just read this article here. So, Esteban Ocon renewed his criticism of Alpine as it emerged that he wanted to leave the team before the end of the 2024 season. Amid on and off-track conflicts with his fellow French teammate Pierre Gasly this year, and behind-the-scenes trouble with team bosses at Alpine, Ocon announced at the beginning of June that they're going to part ways. Alpine announced that. However, it's now emerging that at the scene of the Hungarian Grand Prix that Ocon actually visited Williams' team headquarters recently for a seat fitting. Blick newspaper and its veteran F1 journalist Roger Benoit said the plan was for Ocon to immediately replace the struggling Logan Sargent at Williams to help the team catch up to Alpine in the standings. So effectively a mutiny at that point, Ocon leaving Alpine to try and beat Alpine. Unsurprisingly, Alpine would not agree to that. Why would they? But Benoit thinks that Williams' seat for the Frenchman after the summer break remains a possibility. I suppose anything's possible in Formula 1, but Ocon is being heavily rumoured to go to Haas, and I can't see him going to Williams for half a season, because James Vowles has said about Carlos Sainz that Sainz can't come to Williams if he's not willing to commit to a long-term contract, willing to commit to a long-term project. That's why Williams are kind of annoyed at him at the moment, and it looks like Valtteri Bottas from Sauber is going to go to that seat for next year. But let's have a look at some quotes here. So this is from Ocon. He said, "There are a lot of things that were not done as they should have been done. We all said things about the development of the car. A lot of problems were there a few years ago." Meanwhile, despite his new links with Williams, Ocon is actually fully expected to move to Haas, like I just said. Magnussen is obviously out. He's confirmed to not be driving for Haas for next year. Ayu Komatsu, who's the boss of Haas these days, says, "I take nothing away from all the contributions and fantastic input that Kevin has given to the team to get it where we are now. What was lacking was consistency. That was the biggest factor." I mean, it's hard to disagree with that. It's harsh, but it's Formula 1. I mean, Magnussen came back to Haas when Haas were desperate for a second driver after Lord Voldemort himself, Nikita Mazepin, was summarily sacked from the team with the invasion of Ukraine, of course, and all the Russian sanctions and everything coming in. So Kevin Magnussen came in a really clutch time for Haas, and I remember he got like 5th or 6th in his debut. Well, his second debut race, I should say. I mean, it was his second stint in Formula 1, starting again after a few years out. But yeah, so the Japanese boss admits that signing rookie Oliver Behrman for 2025 was a factor in the decision to get rid of Magnussen, with Haas expected to announce the Ocon news shortly. If you look at Nico Hülkenberg and Kevin, when it comes to providing a consistent reference, I need a driver closer to Nico's consistency. But the difference between Kevin and Nico is very small, he said. The results and the number of points there may look very different in the end, but the decisive factor is the difference is not great. So it was a difficult decision to make regarding Kevin. And I'm sure it was. And is Ocon an upgrade over Kevin Magnussen? Maybe. I mean, I've said it already. I think it's a risk going for 2 new drivers, but I think it could work out for them. I totally understand their decision, but I think it is harsh on Magnussen, but I also understand it too. But yeah, guys, let us know what you think about all this in the comments below. Sounds like Ocon is rather salty when it comes to Alpine, and I can't really blame him. But then again, he only really should have himself to blame with what happened at Monaco. But yeah, that's my opinion, guys. Let us know in the comments below what you think about it, of course, and keep it tuned right here to the F1Chronicle.com for much more content just like this.